Welcome back from that quick break. This day is the AM Club right here on MX24. Most definitely. Well, my name is Kojo Dasabra. Time for us to get into Lifestyle Daily. Yes, it's a Thursday. One more time, we need to get into, everything health-wise. And today is World Diabetes Day. So how about we get into that conversation? But before that, at Equity Health Insurance, the well-being of our members takes precedence. We recognize the unique healthcare needs of individuals and families, which is why we are delighted to present our Ebusua Health Plan. This health plan is crafted to promote the enduring health and happiness of you and your loved ones. Our plans are meticulously tailored to offer comprehensive and competitive health insurance coverage for individuals, families, and smaller groups. Access to quality care is just a phone call away, offering continual assurance of your family's welfare. Contact us on 0546 645 465 or 0503 860 381. Hashtag here for you. Yeah.
Right. So, are you passionate about interior design but don't know where to start? Or maybe you're an aspiring designer looking to elevate your skills? Look no further. Introducing Design Lab by Selom Dream Maker, powered by Accento Projects Limited. Our comprehensive training and coaching courses are designed to solve the biggest challenges faced by both budding interior designers and construction teams, from mastering the latest design trends to understanding client needs and project management. We've got you covered. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking to refine your skills, our courses offer something for every single person. Learn from industry experts, gain hands-on experience, and join a community of like-minded creatives. Register to reserve a slot for our January session and transform your passion into a thriving career. Our students have gone on to create stunning spaces and successful businesses. Ready to take the next step? Contact us today on 020-888-2722. That's 020-888-2722, or visit our office at East Legon at Jiringano Design Lab, where your design dreams come to life. Well, today, like Jay said earlier, we're marking World Diabetes Day, and joining us for the conversation is my very own Gracia. Hello, baby girl.
Hi.
When she came, she saw my coffee on the table. She was like, I thought I warned you. I thought we agreed on something.
So well, you see, you need to be giving it back to me,
Do you know when I got
she
in
steals
here,
my coffee?
I do not.
Yeah, your dietitian is here.
No, baby. Because you know what happened this morning? I came and my hot water is there. No coffee was, because my team also believes that it shouldn't be every day. Then this man passed his coffee to me. The one you saw.
Yeah. So
you
he's
know,
at fault.
and I was like, I thought we agreed not to do this.
I'm reporting her and you are defending her.
No, women supporting women.
Yes, she's my friend. She knows what I can do and what I cannot never do.
Producers, please make sure that we have men supporting men, because it looks like these
there
days...
There are two men coming, so you can take over.
It looks like these days, no, I don't like the balance. It's not balancing for me.
The balance is not balancing. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank
you. Very long time. I've not seen you in a while. Our project is still pending.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
We'll talk about it. But let's get into the conversation for today. We are marking World Diabetes Day. And I always say this, a lot of people do not know that these diseases have specific dates designed for just that observation of these days and educating people on it. So since we're already doing the education base, let's talk about what diabetes is.
Okay. So it's a chronic condition that is characterized by elevated blood glucose, and it mostly happens when the body is unable to produce insulin or unable to use the insulin. And then insulin is a hormone that helps with glucose metabolism. So when you take carbohydrates and it's changed into glucose, it's the insulin that helps to break it down. So if the insulin is not there, or it's not working as it's supposed to, or it's not being produced, then you are highly susceptible to diabetes. It's a non-communicable disease, which, can be gotten from several risk factors, majorly genetics and lifestyle activities and the likes.
But we've also heard of type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. What is the difference between the two?
So with type 1 diabetes, it mostly affects children and young adults, and it happens when there's an autoimmune distraction. So it's when the immune system attacks or destroys the insulin beta cells in the pancreas. Do you get it? But with the type 2 diabetes is more of a lifestyle, and then it's mostly because of insulin use which is not being done well, or insulin production that is not being done well. Yeah, and it's mostly because of obesity, poor diet, inactivity, and so on and so forth. So for type 2 is basically lifestyle activities, and for type 1 is an autoimmune disorder.
Let's go straight into the symptoms. What will show that someone has diabetes? Like, how would I know?
So in the medical field, we have 3 Ps, but I'll break it down. There's polyuria, polydipsia, and polyphagia, right? So excess urination, excess thirst, and excess hunger. That's the 3 Ps. And then you're always tired. You always you always look stressed out. Like you always have this. I don't know how to put it, but you always have this fatigued look on your face. And one of the things that we look out for a lot is the dehydration and sometimes the urination. Urination is one of the big things we look at. So these are some basic things that we need to look at when somebody is diabetic. Aside the blurred vision, aside the eating a lot and all that, these are some basic things we need to look at.
So growing up, we to an extent believed that diabetes could only affect older people, but now we know that the type 1 mostly is with younger people. Now, I recently found out that you can actually get diabetes from birth, which means that you got it probably from your parents. At that stage, I mean, how is that possible? How are we able to, because you just called this a non-communicable disease.
Yeah.
So how is it that it's able to be transferred to another child? Because I remember when growing up, I had a boy in my class. We didn't believe that it was diabetes because they're like, it's older people that get diabetes. I grew up, I was a pension baby, so I had a lot of old men coming into my house, and I knew that older men had diabetes. Yes, it wasn't for babies. But this boy would come
With
sometimes
shots.
when he goes to eat something, and then they said he's falling sick. I know his name was Randy or something like that. Then they would inject him something, and we're like, oh my God, what's this? And we always thought that it was something worse than that. How are we able to come to this point where you have diabetes from birth?
Right. So aside the type 1 and type 2 diabetes, there's something we call gestational diabetes, which affects pregnant women. So if a pregnant woman's diabetes is not well managed, is not well treated, and she goes through labor with it, the child is highly susceptible to diabetes. So maybe the child was born with that autoimmune disorder because his mom had gestational diabetes, which was not managed. So that's basically it.
So you can be fine until you get pregnant and get gestational diabetes?
Yes.
Oh, is that so?
So it only occurs in pregnancy. If you get the diabetes before pregnancy, that is not gestational diabetes. But if it's during the pregnancy, then it's gestational
But how
diabetes.
does that come about? I'm pregnant now. How?
Most of the time, it's their eating pattern, their lifestyle. You know, when you get pregnant, you gain weight.
Yeah.
Yes. So some people they're not eating well. They're not doing what they have to do. They feel like, oh, I'm pregnant, so I don't really need to work out. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. But they are not doing the right thing. They are not eating the right meals. They are not consulting their dietitians because they feel like, oh, let me just talk to my midwife and my gynae. But if you talk to your dietitian, they give you a structured meal plan that is going to help you. So if you inculcate the more grains and more cereals and more fruits and vegetables, you lower your blood sugar levels. But if you are eating the simple sugars, that is what will spike your sugar. And then there are some tests we do during pregnancy. So the glycated hemoglobin, that's the HbA1c, then the oral glucose tolerance test. So these are done to be able to figure out if the person has the gestational diabetes or not. And in some cases too, aside the fasting blood sugar that we do, we have a 2-week paper that we give to clients. I mostly give to my clients that they should check their sugars every 2 weeks. So before they eat, 2 hours before their lunch and 2 hours before their dinner. And we are able to check the levels and see the fluctuations within the levels. So these are most of the situations. So if you're pregnant and you get the gestational diabetes and you don't get it managed, you are highly susceptible to giving it to your child.
Wow. Did you just talk about feeling hungry as, you know me, I'll go there. Feeling hungry as one of the symptoms. Wow. So how different is that from somebody who is also an patient or something of that sort?
Well, The thing is, if you're someone who does a routine check, you'll be able to know your stance.
Okay.
The same way that people who are sexually active make
Yeah.
sure that they do their STD test
Yeah.
every 3 months. It's very important for all of us to be doing the blood sugar, the pressure, the kidney, all those things. So if you're able to do it, and then one thing I think I missed out, if you know that you have a family history of diabetes,
Yeah.
you should really be extra careful when you start seeing these symptoms,
Okay.
the urination, excess hunger, excess thirst, the blurred vision and the likes, then you know that, okay, I need to start taking some certain measures.
Yeah.
So you might be extremely hungry, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are diabetic. Maybe you're not having those other symptoms.
Okay. When you talk about blurred vision too as well, to what extent?
It differs with people. It differs with people. Maybe my blood vision might be different from yours. Some people have diabetes to an extent that they're unable to see at all. You know, when you wake up early morning and you're struggling to open your eyes and you're grumpy, that's the typical example for blurred vision.
Okay.
You're
And
not-
it's running throughout, like throughout the whole time or throughout the whole day. That's when you get to see that, okay,
Yeah, that's when you get to see that you have a problem. Because let's say you're not someone who wears glasses,
Yeah.
and then your vision is not as stable as it's supposed to. Then you know that, no, there's a cause of alarm. I need to
Okay.
go and get myself checked.
Okay. All right. And okay, so now we've got to see the symptoms. We've got to see what may, type 1, type 2. But I think for type 1, which is much more genetic, as you did say, with type 2, which I think people, because of their lifestyle, that makes us, get into these things. What is the preventive measures here that you would want us to dive into, especially with type 2?
Type 2. All right, with type 2, most of the time, your lifestyle is what we look at.
Okay.
So if you see a dietitian and you have type 2 diabetes, they will ask you about certain details. So we take like 24-hour recall, we ask you about your eating pattern, maybe family history, we ask you about your water intake, some lifestyle activities like smoking and drinking, and then your physical activity, sorry. So we are able to check all that. So if we check all that and it's below our standard or below the timeline that we have for certain things, and then when we check your BMI and you are obese, we know that it's a risk factor of type 2 diabetes. So all these things are put in place. So from the not eating properly, for not being physically active, sedentary workers, they are mostly at risk. And then not drinking enough water, not sleeping well. I mean, it's the basic things that we are supposed to be doing, but we feel like it's too much stress to be doing all that. So those are the things that when you don't take into consideration, you are highly susceptible to type 2 diabetes because it's a lifestyle disease. Yeah. But with the type 1, if you are pregnant and you know that, okay, maybe I have diabetes in my family, so I need to be extra careful.
Yeah.
Then you see a dietitian, you get a drafted plan,
Yeah.
you talk to your gynae, you talk to your
Yeah.
medical specialist. They all help you in a way to get things well for you so that you don't pass on your problem
Yeah,
to the
to-
innocent
yeah.
unborn child.
Yeah. Now, for those who are living with diabetes as we speak, what are some of the effective ways to manage it from day to day, apart from the one that we normally see, them,
The insulin shots
insulin
and
being shot?
everything.
Yeah.
So if you're not on insulin shots, you can also do yourself the good thing by seeing a dietitian.
Okay.
Everyone has a different plan that is being given. If I give mine a meal plan, I wouldn't give you the same plan because
Okay.
maybe your disease conditions are different.
Different.
Your BMI is different and a whole lot. So you get a meal plan, you make sure that your pressure is always stabilized because as your pressure increases, there's so many things that would affect you. I've spoken about it here, about kidney and all that. And then try and maintain your blood glucose level. Don't be eating late because if you eat late, you wake up early morning and then you check your sugar and it's probably spiked. And then drink your water, be physically active. But the most important thing is see a dietitian to regularize your eating pattern.
Okay.
Because that's the best way to help you. I mean, I can talk about eating high fiber foods, eating your cereals and grains, eating your fruits and vegetables, your healthy fats, your low proteins. I mean, low proteins in terms of low fatty proteins and everything. I can talk about all that, but it differs from person to person.
Okay.
Because maybe if you take nuts, maybe you're allergic to nuts. So if you take nuts, even though it's good fats, it's good antioxidants, it might not help
No,
you because
not
of
work.
the allergies.
Yeah.
But then someone else would benefit from it. So just see a dietitian and get a structured meal plan, and then be self-aware of what is going on with you. Make it a point to be checking your vitals every 3 months. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to understanding how the food, the kind of things that you eat is like, I recently encountered a woman who told me that, Mimi, listen, I know fruits and juices are good for everybody, but please don't give me anything that will spike my sugar.
Yeah.
I was confused. I'm like, I'm not even making any juice for anybody here that I'm putting sugar inside. So how is it that some fruits can spike your sugar and others won't? I think she asked for pure apple juice.
Yeah, apple juice.
And I was wondering, I was like, that is so sweet. I mean, how can natural fruits trigger your diabetes?
We have something we call fructose sugar, right? That is sugar present in fruit. And then in some fruits is higher, in some fruits is lower. So you come to realize that most diabetics are taking pear, unripe pawpaw, they are taking a mango that is not really ripe, they are taking banana, they are taking apple and grapes and so on and so forth. But you will not see them taking pineapple. You will not see them taking watermelon because those ones have a high fructose sugar.
And they don't make me sweet.
Yeah, that's what we think. But then
Yeah.
scientifically, there
more sugar.
are some fruits that have less fructose sugar as compared to others. So if you're a diabetic, your dietitian will tell you don't take pineapple, don't take watermelon. But then if you are making a smoothie and then maybe you want the sweet aspect, you can probably use just a sample that is being given to you to add it up because you're not adding honey or sugar or whatever. But then you can do banana, you can do avocado, you can do mango, I think pawpaw, apples, grapes. What other fruits do we even have? Yeah, basically that.
I see. Interesting. Now, for you out there, if you do not know anything about diabetes, well, today, November 14th, we are marking World Diabetes Day. And so if you have someone out there, so how do we, so for instance, I don't know that this person has diabetes around me. How am I able to manage them? How am I able to take care of them so I don't go spiking their sugar? Now, note that I've also heard from that same person that there are certain foods that they cannot eat. I think she mentioned rice or something like that. The foods, which ones can they eat and which ones can't? Yes.
So we know if you chop the rice, then the yam,
Rice,
then
I think it's the banku chef.
Yeah, there's a way you can make your banku.
Okay.
There's a way you can make your banku. You know, some people like to make banku with, I think, just the cassava dough or just the corn dough. I'm not really sure of the variation. But the most important thing is high fiber. I think I've been hammering high fiber since I've been here. And in Ghana, we are very privileged. Everything we have in Ghana is healthy, but it depends on how you cook it and how you preserve it. So let me take a typical breakfast. I'll use oats because oats is available to everyone. When you put oats on fire and you cook it, the glucose content is higher than when you just pour hot water on it. But Ghanaians will prefer the one that is put on fire because on per se is soft and all that. Exactly. But then when I'm not really a fan of oats, but when I'm making oats, I like mango, so I do oats, mangoes, and banana. I blend it, and then I keep it in the fridge overnight. It's like meal prep, and then I add chia seeds. So that's how I have my oats. I'm able to retain the high fiber, not so much sugar and all that. But then that's with the oats. Do you get it? If you take rice dishes is mostly not advised because rice is not having high fiber as we are expecting it. But the local ones we have has high fiber.
Okay.
So mostly when I'm trying to do a healthy diet and everything, it's either I'm doing the brown rice or I'm doing my normal rice with a lot of vegetables, or I'm doing the 2:1 portion of wheat and rice. It's the same thing with bread. They can't take tea bread, they can't take sugar bread, they can't take butter bread, they take more wheat bread.
Wheat bread, yeah.
That's the whole thing. So the yam, bangkung, let me do yam, plantain, cassava, cocoyam. You can have all those ones, but then there's a serving size. You don't sit down and eat 6 slices of yam. That's too much because you're spiking up your sugar at a point in time. Because I know Ghanaians will take 6 slices of yam and just like a table, what's the name? A ladle of contomere. You know, the contomere is supposed to be 3 ladles and the yam is supposed to be about 2 to 3. Do you understand? So I'm still inculcating more fruit and vegetables, less carbohydrates, the right amount of protein, and then the right amount of fat.
Okay, they're actually trying to mess up our eating pattern. But
No, it's not about messing it
but
up.
for me, I think that generally, if you have gotten to a point where you need to take care of yourself, you need to take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like you have no option. But so for people with living with diabetes? How do they, so for instance, all these things they cannot eat, what do they then eat? Like, so I remember she telling me that I cannot drink Coke. I'm like, so what
Yeah, you can't drink.
what if you want to drink some fizzy drink? What do you then go for?
You know,
Not at all?
You know, no, not at all. You know how those on dialysis
Yeah.
know that, oh, I'm not supposed to take tomatoes, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do that. No matter how difficult it is, they have to stick to it because that's how you're going to live longer. It's the same with diabetic people. That's why I said, see your dietitian, get a structured and a personalized meal plan. They'll be able to make the exchange rates and the variations because if I'm not giving you sugar bread, I'll give you wheat bread. If I'm not giving you basmati rice, I'll give you maybe 2 portions of wheat and a portion of rice or brown rice. If I'm not giving you pineapple or watermelon, I'll give you pawpaw, I'll give you pear, and I'll do an exchange system. I'll find a variation. So you will still enjoy your meals, but then it's just that you are enjoying it in a healthier form. And I feel like if you start at a younger age, it helps you because I have started eating healthy I started eating healthy at a younger age because my grandmother is a caterer, my mom is a caterer. They are all like food science people, home economics people. So growing up, I'm used to eating healthy. So switching into dietetics and being healthy wasn't really a problem. And I have a practical experience. My great-grandfather, he lived with diabetes for 50 years. And it's not even the diabetes that killed him. He had a stroke. I think he had something. He had a stroke and then he died, a heart attack, and he died. So diabetes is not a death sentence. Right. If you're able to manage it and eat well and do what you have to do, you'll be able to live a long period of time. And I have patients that have come to say that, oh, my sugars have been regularized. I have this patient that he has a sugars, I think, around 29.3. And that's outrageous. Okay. But over 3 months, you've been able to manage it. And now his sugars is between the normal ranges, around 3.5 to 5.9. Okay. Yeah, that's the normal ranges. And it varies with people who are pre-diabetic and pregnant women and all that. So from 29.3 to about 4.5 over 3 months, he had to change his diet completely. And he's those, in quotes, DBs. So I want to take strawberry, I want to take kiwi, I want to do all
You cannot take all those things.
So you can do it, but then I found a way to regularize his meals so that he will still be able to enjoy his delicacies, but in a healthier way.
So the best thing is when we come to you as a dietitian, I mean, can we also let you know whether we are DB or not?
Oh, yeah.
So that at least you could manage it. You know that, okay, this person is in between and this person can do this instead of this and that instead of that. Well, interesting. Again, please kindly reiterate for, the specifics in terms of, checking your sugar level. At what point do you have to do that? Is it that you have to wait that you realize that, oh yeah, you have some frequent urination? And with the frequent urination as well, how frequent? Because someone could say that, oh, I'm drinking a lot of water and I'm passing a lot of urine.
No, that's the normal phenomenon.
Okay, so how extreme would that caution you that, hey, I need to check this out?
Let me give a very practical scenario. So let's say you go to the washroom and then there are some drops on the floor, right? And then after about 30 minutes, you see ants around it.
Whoa.
That should let you know that, okay, there's a cause of alarm. That's one. With the frequent urination, if you're somebody who sleeps and wakes up just twice in the night to pee, and then all of a sudden you're waking up like 6 or 7 times, you should be alarmed, especially if you have diabetes in your family.
Okay.
And make it a point to check all your things like every 3 months. Like I said with the STD thing, people who know what they are doing, make sure that they go and check all the time. So why don't we make it a routine?
Okay.
Personally, I do check all these things like every 3 months, like a full blood count, everything, because I want to make sure that I'm okay. And there's this misconception that people who are obese and overweight are sick. That's not true. People who are slim and slices small, not to offend anybody, are people who are even suffering from the most situations because they eat and they feel like nothing's going to happen to me. So
we're guilty.
We're guilty.
Guilty as charged.
So I never I've been size 6. Okay, before I didn't check, but I think I was less than size 6. But from the time I could remember, I've been size 6 for like 8 years.
Wow.
And I was eating anything and everything. Bro, nope, you can't tell me nothing.
Exactly.
I'll eat everything.
Because you feel like you're okay.
Then all of a sudden, in 2022, this girl started gaining weight. 2023 got worse. listen, I had to go on diet and lose a lot of weight. I went from 80 to, I was like, why? What's going on? Then someone told me, a doctor friend told me that it's all the years of all the things that you
it's
did.
now
It's now reflecting.
it's now reflecting.
Yeah. Now, to observe this day as a medical, as someone in the medical field, what do you usually do to mark this day, to give more education on this conversation called diabetes?
Most of the time I create awareness. Yeah, so I've been my classmates call me the DM girl, the diabetes mellitus girl, because from first degree all the way to masters, every project work I did was around diabetes because I know my family members have it, so I'm very keen about it. So I just create awareness. I talk about it. I did diabetes and its implication in whole Volta region, and then one in South Africa. So then I'm always creating awareness, telling people that I get it, you want to have the Coke, and I like Coke. I mean, I'm human. So, but then we find
Do you
a
have
way.
your cheat days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good.
Every Tuesday
Okay,
is my
okay.
cheat day.
Every Wednesday is mine, but mine starts from 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Wednesday, like yesterday, let me tell you guys what I did.
Oh no.
2 scoops of Tokyo ice cream.
No.
I went to have what do you call it? Strawberry.
Hey.
What's strawberry? That thing that they do in the
I'm lost.
so strawberry and syrup and a lot of things blended together with ice. Strawberry something, yeah. And then I had
Is
on
it
top of it.
daiquiri?
Daiquiri,
Yeah,
thank
okay.
you. It's you and your wife that introduced me to that thing. On top of it, I went to have like a very big cup of boba.
Oh Lord.
You know, the difference between you and me is,
Yes.
in as much as I have a cheat day,
Yeah.
I'm a dietitian, so I know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
go all out.
That's the thing. So even though I'm taking, you won't get me taking the whole 1 liter of Coke. No, I'll take the short one.
Yeah.
And then I know that, okay, after that, I've taken a lot of calories, so navigate your eating to this party. And I detox a lot. Like, I do my natural detoxes and all that. So we know what to do. That's why we always say that, see your dietitian, because that's the only way to escape from, oh, I also have a cheat day, but I'm eating well. Why am I having diabetes? Why am I having hypertension?
I'm not pro to diabetes though. I mean, just so you know.
I have this. How do I put this? So my younger brother and I look like the bigger one, and he looks small, right? And then my mom is always saying that, you are eating a lot, you are eating everything, but you have to be very careful because you won't be that. There was someone who was small and he felt like, oh, let me eat everything I want to eat. And at the end of the day, this person started getting big, and this person started getting predisposed to certain conditions. So I'm really big on the fact that don't look at someone's body size and assume that the person is unhealthy. Because as your BMI, that's going to make us know whether you are obese or you are underweight or you are overweight. And this goes out to the people who are small. Because you're a size 6 or a size 8 doesn't mean you are healthy. And also because you're a size 12 or you're a size 14 doesn't mean you are healthy. Just make sure that you are always doing the right thing and checking your sugars and doing what you have to do to keep healthy.
What is your advice for people living with diabetes on this day that we have decided to, set aside a day to recognize what they're going through and their struggles?
What I'll tell everyone that has that disease condition is just stick to what your dietitians have told you. Just stick to what your medical doctors have told you. Take your medications at the right time and eat a well-balanced diet. Don't take a poor diet. Make sure you're physically active. I mean, you don't have to be in the gym to be physically active, but you can do some brisk walking to be physically active. And drink a lot of water. It really helps.
Drink a lot of water. They all say it. So now I'm learning to drink a lot of water.
And quickly, just before you go, about the detoxing part, for anyone who is diabetic too as well, is that okay for
You
them
will
to
have
do?
to see your dietitian so
Okay.
that they'll work around it for you.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Gracia, thank you so much for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Gracias.
It's always exciting
De nada.
and very scary to have her in the studio.
Oh.
I mean, every time she's coming, I'm like, oh my God, this girl is coming to destroy our lives. She's coming to make it harder to live in Ghana. But I love her because she stays on business. Like, you have to do it and you have to do it, right? So if you want to connect with her on social media, what's your name on social media?
As usual, it's Momsy.
Yes.
It's Momsy everywhere. And if you want to see me in person, I'm a resident dietitian at Medifem Hospital, Westland Tacho. So you can just pass through and then
She's a big madam over there. So
Oh,
just
no,
go,
no,
you
no,
say
no,
you're
no.
looking for the big madam dietitian and to introduce you to her. Thank you so much for coming. It's
Thank
always
you
a
for
pleasure to
having
have you. And to
me.
you out there, I hope you've learned a thing or two. We're always here to educate and, of course, to give you a bit more education on how to live healthy. And today, to anyone who's living with diabetes, we're here with you. It's not a death sentence. You've got this. You have our support, okay? Again, I hope you learned a thing or two about diabetes this morning. We're going for a quick break. When we return, a big conversation is coming up on this show. We'll be right back.